अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Jai Ma. We are discussing this book of Shri Anandamayi Maa, Swakriya Svarasamrita, Volume 4, where Ma talks about Kriya Yoga. We are in the introduction part, and yesterday we saw that how Kriya is ever existence, and everything is existence alone. We use the dream example, where in the dream, the dreamer I, the place of in the dream, and the people of the dream, everything is one mind alone, the waker mind who is seeing the dream. So everything is that alone. In the dream, one mind has become all. In the dream, the I, which is experiencing the dream, might be seeing the plurality, the dichotomy, that this is a person, that is a desert, this is a river, this is my palace, this is my home, this is my wife, this is my brother, sister. But for the mind which is projecting the dream, it is that one dream alone. It is that one mind alone. So that is why it is ever existence, and it is beyond the comprehension of our mind, because the mind cannot, the cause cannot see the effect. I mean, the effect cannot see the cause. The effect cannot see the cause. In Kena Upanishad, it is said, Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is the ear of the ear, means the capacity with which the ear gets the capacity to hear something, the eyes gets the capacity to see something. It is because of that. And then what is this form, these forms which we are experiencing? Ma is saying it is Bhagwan himself with himself in his Leela indeed. Like the total mind is dreaming, and that total mind is the I. See, when Ma is saying that it is Bhagwan himself with himself in his Leela indeed, it means that, yes, that supreme consciousness, consciousness absolute, existence of absolute, Ananda absolute, Satchidananda is Purna, is complete, absolute. But when we are experiencing this Prakriti, when we are experiencing this plurality, then also it is absolute. It is not that before creation it was absolute, but now because we are experiencing Bheda, we are experiencing plurality. So then it has come down from that Brahma, it has come down to Jiva. No, it is still Brahma. That this is the Advaita philosophy. Other philosophies will say that no, there is like Jiva is the Amsha of that supreme consciousness, of that Brahma. Amsha means a part. But what Advaita says is Jivo Brahmaiva na paraha. Jiva and Brahma, the individuality and the individual and the supreme consciousness is one and one alone, even when the creation is created, even if when the creation is experienced. That is why in the Shanti mantra we say Purnam Adaha Purnam Idam. Here also it is Purna. Here also it is Bhagwan. There also it is Bhagwan. And from that Bhagwan, if we take something, then it remains Purna, and the portion which we have taken, that is also Purna. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this mantra comes there. Adi Guru Shankaracharya ji, in his commentary, gives a beautiful example to explain this, that how Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, from Purna, when it comes to creation, still here also it is Purna. So he says, he writes there in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that take a lamp, light it. Now it's a lightning lamp, the lamp which is lit. Take another lamp which is not lit and light it from the first lamp which is lit now. So what will happen when you lit the second lamp from the first lamp? The fire of the first lamp gives the fire to the second lamp, but there is no destruction of fire from the first lamp. And it is not that the second lamp is a little less than the first lamp. The fire will be equal, and still there will be no destruction of fire from the first lamp. So this is how he teaches, he explains this mantra, that from that Purna, from that fire, when we take another fire, like when we lit another lamp, from the in that fire, there is no destruction of the fire. And in the second lamp also, the fire which is lit is complete. So Purnamadaha Purnamidam. That is what Ma is saying. It is Bhagwan himself with himself in his Leela, indeed. Because without this, the Purnata will not be maintained. If Jiva has fallen down, if that from that supreme consciousness, if the Jiva has fallen down, then the Purnata will not be maintained. Only when that Jiva is also Purna Brahma, then only that continuity, that Purnata will be maintained. It cannot be maintained when we feel, when we discuss that Jiva, the individual, is a part of that Brahma. No, then the Purnata will not be maintained. So to maintain the Shruti Vakya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, Jiva and Brahma, Bhagavan and Bhakta are not two, it is one and one alone. Hanumanji and Sri Ram are one and one alone. But yes, today we don't know that, we don't experience that because of avidya, because of ignorance. And that is why the Shastra study. Moving forward, again, in the worldly kriyas, actor, action, and achievement are differentiated. See, this comprehension only Ma is trying to elaborate or explain it further. That Brahma only has come down as Jiva. Jiva is nothing. Jiva is just a reflected consciousness, a reflection alone. And reflection don't have any identity of itself. So this portion only Ma is explaining with the help of with the help of what they say, dichotomy. Actor, action, and achievement are differentiated. With this triology, Ma is trying to explain this. Again, in the worldly kriyas, actor, action, and achievement are differentiated. When we do in worldly kriyas, these three things we know for sure, that there is an actor, which is I, there is an action which I am doing, and there is something which is acted upon, and there is that achievement, that I have done this. With Ma, sadhana, sadhak, and sadhya are all one, contained in the self, hence all action is a play of sadhana. So, which means that when Ma's body was also there, she was Purna. There may be a comprehension that okay, the Jiva is Purna, the Jiva is absolute. But what about this body? This body is Jada, this body is not pure, etc. etc. This body has its own characteristics. It needs food, needs water, it needs air, many things it needs. So, what about this body? Ma's body was also Purna. Ma's body was also made up of that supreme consciousness alone. Everyone's body is made up of that supreme consciousness because everyone's body is made up of the five elements, but it is after the creation. Tasmat va etasmat atmana akasha sambhutaha. Akashat vayuhu. From that to this Atman, and from this Atman, space has come. And from space, Vayu has come. The Taittiriya Upanishad mm, way of creation. But Ma's body was also Purna, consciousness alone, where there is no separation between actor, act, and action. What we see as changes through the phases of the life movement of Ma can only be a play of the indivisible and infinite supreme self within itself, a self transformation in the self. In the midst of all changes is the eternal truth of that itself. So she exists in the supreme indivisible whole in perfection, both within and without forms, qualities, and bhavas. So even her body used to be there. See, there was no segregation of I and this body with Ma. Like for us, there is a segregation of this. There is a differentiation that okay, I am something, and then there is my body. That is why we say my hand, my heart belongs to you. So there is this segregation. The materialist people say that this body will not go to heavens, but I will go to heaven. They also know that I cannot go to heaven with this body. I need another body or another form to be in the heaven. So I will go, but not with this body. So there is this differentiation. But with Ma, the differentiation was not there. It was one whole consciousness. One of Ma's Vani is I don't have space to turn over. Why? Because it is consciousness alone. Pragyana Ghana, Mandukya Upanishad is saying. It is a tight, solid mass of consciousness. So, where that consciousness will turn, there is no space to turn other than consciousness because space is also in consciousness, in that consciousness. When we work, we feel that I am in this body, but no, body is in me, body is in consciousness. It is not that I am in this body. No, no, no. Then consciousness will get limited, and consciousness will be bound by desha kala vastu, time, space, and object, but not like that. This body is in consciousness, so space is in consciousness. So Ma can't turn over because Ma was one whole pragyana ghana, a solid mass of consciousness. So Ma was Purna, Ma's body was Purna, and there was no differentiation. of actor, action, and acted upon. What beautiful thought. Only this thought, if we think about it, if we reflect upon it, we will get Ma. And if Ma is that undivided consciousness, then we are in lap of Ma. Think about it. Then we are not other than Ma. We are always sitting on the lap of Ma. And how is Ma? Ma is all compassion. That supreme consciousness is all compassion. Think about it. Whenever we get some power, whenever we get some money, whenever we get some contacts, big contacts, then our ego grows. Oh, I know this person, I know that person. But Ma is the supremest, if that's a word, supreme absolute. Kathopanishad says that Vishnu Paramam Padam, the subtlest, the innermost, and the greatest. Adiguru Shankaracharya says these three words for Param: subtlest, innermost, and the greatest. So that is Ma. So she is the greatest. Still, she is all compassionate. She just takes her bhaktas. So Ma was that undivided consciousness absolute. And there was no distinction between Ma and her body. It is consciousness and consciousness alone. And that is why Ma used to say that this body is not because of prarabdha. This body is has come, not has come because of my past actions. Because there is no past actions. Because for, to get the past actions to happen, there has to be an anchor that this individual's past action is this. With Ma, there is no individuality, there is no anchor to it. Karma just holds. What karma will hold? There is no individuality with Ma. So karma will hold what? Who? Actually, we are holding the karma. Individual are holding the individual is holding the karma. Not going into that, how it is so and all those things. If there will be a context in the future, then we will deep dive. But the main topic here is, and the main thing we should understand here is that there is no distinction between Ma and her body was also consciousness. She was also consciousness, an undivided mass of consciousness and consciousness alone. Ma. Let's move on. I don't have the mood to move on because it's such a beautiful thought, but let's move on. We will see one more paragraph and then we will continue. Ma's word and the mind created language of man. This is the heading. Swakriya Svarasamrita is presented in the form of the words of Ma, which are the presentation of her eternal self. Ma's words and Ma are not two different things, they are the same. Same means they are the self. Even one word of Ma is Purna. That is why we say that we should follow Ma's words. Why? Because it is so powerful. The most powerful thing on this earth is, or in this whole universe, in this cosmos, is Ma's words. The language presents some difficulties to the new readers at first since it does not follow the rules of grammar and syntax. Ma used to say these words in her khyal because there is no karta, so I am speaking thing was not there with Ma. So sometimes some thought used to come and just Ma used to say something. So that is why grammar rules cannot be followed. And also, when the supreme consciousness is expounded, because it cannot be reached by words, because it cannot be reached by mind. Taittiriya Upanishad is saying, Yato Vacho Nivartante, where words come back, fail to do their work and come back. Even someone cannot reach by mind. When I say potato, then you understand what I am saying, and your mind has gone to a potato. So the potato word which I uttered, it did its job. The potato word did its job by by comprehending. You have comprehended that yes, he is telling about a vegetable called potato, and potato is like this. You have imagined in your mind. So the word potato has done its job. But when I say consciousness, when we say consciousness, when the Shastra is saying consciousness, existence, bliss, and then also the Shastra is saying that I cannot tell. See, it is just to give you a pointer. And please remember, pointer is not the pointed. When we say consciousness, we have to transcend the consciousness. Yes, we have to meditate that it is consciousness, but then we have to transcend it. Like in the Olympics, we have seen a pole vaulter. Now, a pole vaulter, what he does, he or she does, they run with the pole. They take the support of the pole to go high, and when that on that tip on that moment, they leave the pole and they transcend just like that, absolutely like that. We have to go beyond words. One more example for this: when a child asks that, Father, where is the moon? The father just points to the moon. If the child keeps on looking on his finger, the father's finger, then he will not be able to see the moon ever, because the moon is on the sky, and this finger or a stick in his father's hand is not able to touch the moon, but the stick or the finger is doing its job, that by showing. So the pointer, the finger or the stick, the pointer is not the pointed, the pointer is not the moon. We have to take the support of the pointer, please remember. Because people, by this argument, they rebuttal and ask this question, then what is the meaning of shastra? No, 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 this stick is required, the pointer is required, but we need to remember that the pointer is not the pointed, and that is why Upanishad is saying yato vacho nivartante. Whatever I have said till now, whatever I means the Upanishad has said till now, it is just the pointer and not the pointed. So don't get confused in the words. You have to transcend the words. So this is because, so this is, so these words of Ma are not in a grammatical form, because that cannot be sentencified, if that's a word, or wordified. I hope you get the meaning. So that is why Ma, when explaining, is not following grammar rules, because it cannot be followed. Swami Vivekananda ji says that the closest it can be said is through the language of Sanskrit. and no other language can do it. Well, that's a different debate, that what languages can do and not do. That's a different debate. But the main gist here, why the author is saying, why the writer of this introduction is saying that the language is not following the grammar rules, because it cannot be said by words, it cannot be said by grammar, it cannot have a definite path, definite word, sentence, paragraph. It cannot have. Words only cannot reach. So what about sentence? Sentences can't reach. Paragraphs can't reach. So that is why it is said, some difficulties to the new readers at first, since it does not follow the rules of grammar and syntax. It should, however, be understood that the contents of the book are an immediate emanation from her lips, taking place by itself, which transcends all barriers of rules and conventions of communication, and reveals in the words of Ma herself a unity of the word with the Supreme Self. The whole thing has happened by itself. Ma's uttering of words, someone writing those words, someone transcribing those words, and then this formation of the book. And the words Ma is saying, a unity of word with the Supreme Self. It is a language of Swamula. Whatever the language used by Ma is the language of that Supreme Consciousness, which is the root of all, and it is the I. That is why Swamula, the Mula, the root of I. The words unite us. Ma's words unite us with that. The ultimate source and objective in the reality of the Supreme. That itself, thus, it has the potentiality to reveal the objective beyond the grasp of expression. Even though it is beyond the grasp of expression by Ma's words, and the power in Ma's words, it just transcends the mind. Because spirituality is just to transcend the mind, to see the consciousness, to experience that consciousness, nothing else is required. So when the mind stops, we get the supreme bliss. And the language used by Ma in explaining that supreme consciousness, that reality, Swamula, just does that. So it is, we can say that it is Ma's pedagogy to give us self-realization. We will stop it here. Beautiful, very deep discussions. Really want everyone to read this book more than anything else. We will stop with Ma's thought that Ma is trying us to teach, to show that supreme consciousness and give us the supreme result. Beyond this, nothing is. That supreme Ma is asking us to take from Ma, because Ma is ever there to give that. We are not taking it, so we have to take it. And Ma is inspiring through her words, through her books, that we take it as soon as possible. With these thoughts, we end today. We shall meet again tomorrow with Ma's grace. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Jai Ma.